Hello and welcome. I'm Angela Clark. Welcome to Healthy Plant-Based Recipes. I'm excited to share with you a really easy recipe that's really delicious. The recipe I'm going to be sharing with you today is one that I've adapted slightly from the Silver Hills cookbook. It's a recipe that I've made for years and I really enjoy. It's called Unsausages. In their cookbook they call it Angela's Unsausages. So to start with, I have 2 cups of water. I have them already in my kettle on the stove. I put it on high so it'll bring it to a boil. It's not yet at a boil, and that's fine because we're going to add our other seasonings. So we are going to start out with our salt. It calls for 2 teaspoons of salt, so I'm just going to put my 2 teaspoons of salt in. That's 1, and here we go, 2. I have my 2 teaspoons of salt. We're going to put 2 tablespoons of oil. Now a little trick, since we're going to put honey in here too, is if you use the same measuring that you put the oil in, it's going to make the honey come out of here really easily. Now the recipe only calls for 2 teaspoons of honey. That's not a problem though, because we know that to make a tablespoon, we need 3 teaspoons. So I'm just going to fill this up about 2/3 of the way full of honey. And you could use something else. If you don't want to use honey, you could use another sweetener, agave, or something else. That's okay too. And this is a little bit crystallized, but that's not a problem. Honey actually keeps for a really long time. They even found it from the pyramids in Egypt and it was still good. So no worries about that. So we're putting in, I'm not going to fill this all the way because we just wanted 2 teaspoons of honey. Okay, we have that in there. Now we're going to put in 2 teaspoons of onion powder. I like onion powder. It's a really good key ingredient to have in your house for cooking. So 1 and 2 teaspoons. You can see while we're adding our ingredients, the water's already starting to come to a boil, so it's going to be ready for us to use in just a minute. All right, we're going to put our sage in here. We need a 1/2 cup of ground sage. Not a 1/2 cup, a 1/2 teaspoon of ground sage. I wonder what it would taste like if you put a 1/2 cup. Don't do that. That would be a mistake that you would notice. You know, some things, if you do it a little bit different, if you messed up and put a teaspoon, I'm sure it would still turn out well. Don't do the 1/2 cup though, no. 1/2 teaspoon of sage, ground sage. If you're using sage that isn't ground, you can use a little bit more, but the ground sage is a lot finer, so the 1/2 teaspoon is fine. All right, nutritional yeast. If you don't have nutritional yeast, this is something that you're going to want to get because this stuff is amazing. You can put it in so many recipes. It kind of helps give like a cheesy flavor. It's delicious, high in B12 to my understanding, so it's definitely something that you want to have on hand. You can get it online. I actually bought it from Country Life. I got it in 10 pounds because it was cheaper that way, and I do a fair amount of cooking. And then I just put some in this container here. So we're going to use 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. You can also get it at like a local health food store. It's a good thing to have. Okay, we have our 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. We're going to do Italian seasoning. I'm going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. I love Italian seasoning. Maybe one of my favorite seasonings. All right, and a 1/2 teaspoon garlic powder. All right, that's it. Look at that. That was not hard. Just put those seasonings in there and mix it up a little bit. And the base to our Unsausages is going to be oats. What's really nice about this, if you can't do gluten, guess what? Hopefully you can do oats because you can use this. You could get certified gluten-free oats and make it with your oats. So we're gonna put 2 cups of oats into that nice boiling water that has all the seasonings in there. It smells good. Oh, I love Unsausages. So we're just gonna mix that into the hot boiling water. And then you're just gonna want to let it cook there for a few minutes. You're gonna want it to get thick, which will happen very easily. Now, let me warn you, you do not want to set this on the stove for 5 minutes and just go away and stop stirring it, because it will stick to the bottom. So just kind of keep stirring it there, turn the temperature down to medium or to lower temperature. And you can just let it cook there for a couple minutes. And I'm gonna actually turn this one off, and I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do after I let it cook. Or you can even just let it cook for 3 or 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, but just make sure you're stirring it. Okay? I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do once it's finished cooking and once it's cooled a little bit, how you're gonna form it into this Unsausages. So right over here, I have some that's already made and that's already cooled. And I'm going to show you how we make it into an Unsausage. It's really easy. So you just get a measuring cup. I'm using a 4th cup measuring cup. You could use a smaller one, even larger, depending on the size that you want it to be. Have a bowl of water, and you're just going to dip it in the water. This way, it's not going to stick inside. So, just going to do that. Put it in here. That's putting it in the water. Should help it to come out better. Now, this one has been sitting here a little bit longer, so if you take it out when it's right away, then it shouldn't stick. There we go. But in case it does, you've got the spoon to use. So we're gonna try, let's see. Maybe next time will be a little better. But like I said, this has been sitting a little while I was getting ready. I'll show you guys, so if you do it when it's fresher, should work a little bit. Ah, there you go, see? Just comes out like that. But I do recommend, don't let it cool too long, because it will be easier to work with. But if you got busy and it's been sitting there for a while, don't worry, it will still work. Okay, there we go. And this way, I mean, I did oil the cookie sheet, but not using any other oil. There we go. Now I'm going to use a lid. Just dip it in the water and push this down. There we go. Just dip it in the water so it doesn't stick. And we're just going to push that down. There we go. Dip it in the water. Push this down, and we're going to have our Unsausages. Make sure you're dipping it in the water every time. Otherwise, it will stick more. So, there you go. That's simple. Now, once you finish filling your whole pan, you're going to put it in the oven at 350 degrees, and you're going to let it bake. You're going to want to check on it for maybe 15-20 minutes, and you're going to, once it's golden brown, you're going to flip them over to let it get golden brown on the other side. It'll probably take 45 minutes, maybe even an hour. Just check on it to see when it gets that golden brown. And I'm going to show you some that are nice and actually golden brown that I have in the oven that are actually ready to take out. Look at this. Look at that nice golden brown Unsausage. Look at that. There we go. And you can see it right there. So, Unsausages. And I have some more over here too. What's great about them is that you can actually put them in the freezer too. So you can make a recipe, and instead of just doing the 2 cups of water, you can start with 4 or 8 cups and do a double or quadruple that recipe. Make a big batch up, and then you can put them in the freezer. And these are actually ones that I had in the freezer, and then I just thought on a cookie sheet, in the oven, and look at that, they're ready to use as well. These things are so delicious, you can eat them plain. They also work really well to make sandwiches with. So you can get some nice whole wheat bread and some avocado, lettuce, tomato things, and make a delicious sandwich. I love Unsausages. They're so good, and it's simple, really simple like you saw. Just adding those ingredients to the boiling water, mixing it in, letting it sit, putting them on the cookie sheets, and baking in the oven. Really easy, and they're great in the fridge for a while, and you can put them in the freezer to store them as well. Something healthy and something delicious. I hope you enjoy them.